Now, before you go thinking that I have some kind of perverse and kinky love on for McConnell Lake, it's not true. My initial plan was to take the nature trail, which we're about to do, around and scout it out first before I paddled. But it didn't work out that way, so I'm getting to the nature hike now. Durable dads, brothers from other mothers, and sisters from different misters. Thanks for tuning in. As I mentioned before, we're back at McConnell Lake, and this time I'm going to walk the nature trail that goes around it. So a little known fact that pretty much every elementary school kid in the Kamloops area has hiked around this because it's a favorite for field trips, which makes it a nice, easy, digestible hike that gives you a little taste. I've seen there's lots of little ways to get into that right down to the lake. Very picturesque, and it's going to be something that you can take your kids to. There's a bunch of dads and kids out here today doing the paddle, so I'm sure we're going to run into people on the nature walk. Again, it worked out that I paddled it first instead of scoping it out. No big whoop. We're here today, so you know what? I have a little rig that I'm going to show you. My first bit was my first action cam idea for the life jacket. Didn't work out very well, so I've gone to stage 2. We're going to try this out today. I'll show that to you in a sec with the equipment. And I ended up, a guy has got to admit when his dad hacks aren't necessarily up to par. So I did order a strap mount that is of high quality. So there's going to be a lot more footage coming, and it'll look stable and it'll look good. So I'll catch you next clip. Okay, kids, we're packing light this time. A few upgrades. I mean, I'm taking just basic tools, the compass, of course, and my bike tool right here that I forgot was in another pack that I cleaned out. That's got to go in the adventure kit. We're taking the Kona out. That has been upgraded to a 3-liter bladder. So I'm going to see what 3 liters sloshing around on my back feels like for the more challenging hikes that are coming up. Okay, so time to show off the mod. Okay, so what I've done there is I've taken and repurposed a wrist strap that is probably going to be pretty hokey. Sorry about the shaky cam, there are bugs all over the place. So it can change around and can change position, but the locking system with that little tab seems hokey as hell. I don't think it's going to work out very well, but the new item du jour, the actual strap, isn't showing up until Sunday. Hopefully I get it in time for a paddle this weekend. Anywho, the real basics. We're not even taking a med kit. There's one in the vehicle. Lou is not joining us. Sitting this one out because the kayaks are loaded, and this is just a quick trip. And there's tons of people around. So if there's going to be any problem, and cell service. So if there's any problem outside of minor, I got it covered. Okay, let's get to a hike. Okay, here's a little bit of a test to see how this system works out. Again, this is dad hack number 2, where I've modified a chest mount. Now, we might not be very straight on or even, but it's worth a try. We'll see how this holds up over the course of a hike. Anyways, here's the trailhead. Okay, so I've added one more thing to these hikes, and I went and got an app called Seek. It's by iNaturalist, and it's powered by the National Geographic Society, and I think those guys are pretty legit. So it's probably a good idea as I am embarking on my return to outdoor living to identify the plants that are in my area or anything I encounter. So 1 per turn. So Seek tells me that that is Common Yarrow. Okay, a little bit more about it will show up in an overlay. Anywho, let's get to a hike, and that's our first plant du jour, or de hike. Just so you know, there's the signpost there. Nice little spot. This little clearing is apparently the site of the McConnell cabin. So I'm assuming this is the original cabin site. Pretty cool. Okay, I was looking for an excuse to use my selfie stick, and I found one. All right. So, an update. I did a little bit of a review and brew on the CJ power bank. My hiking companion that's with me just had a bit of an accident. So what had happened is there's a little leather strap that he had hooked onto his Hydro Pack and was hanging off a carabiner. Okay, that broke. The power bank fell to the ground and the casing has come off of it. So this is a little extra piece of something that didn't work. It didn't happen to me, but it did happen to in the wild with Kyle. So that has effectively destroyed said power bank, which was only 20 some odd bucks. So it's not a big crying shame, but he uses it all the time. So note to self that clip system and hanging it off of your pack on a hike or any kind of run is a no-go. In addition to the gratuitous nature footage, we got some Canada geese. Why not throw that in there? Nice. Well, you can see that it's not super steep, but it's steep enough, and it's about enough to elevate the difficulty level of rated trails from a 3 to maybe a 4. There is a handy little handrail, so to speak, that bungee cord that's there. Again, school kids do this all the time, so it must be relatively safe, but kind of a neat feature. Now, I better keep moving, otherwise, if the hill didn't kill me, the bugs will. Part of me wonders why the scrunchie is here. What's its story? Is this a signal for help? Is anybody planning on coming back for said scrunchie? Anyways, random scrunchies in random trees on random trails make me no feel good. Sitting near the dock on the lake, just wasting time. Okay, kids, we did it. We made the loop in a rather leisurely fashion, so lots of stops for footage and to enjoy the view. Anyways, it's done. The loop is beautiful. Again, another banger of a day. What went right for this? Well, I forgot nothing this time. I even got the Fitbit, shockingly. My little mod for the action cam worked out not bad. It's a dad hack, and I think the angle kind of sucks. I can't wait until my stuntman gear comes in, and that will give everybody a better angle. But anyways, it did manage to work. I did identify one species, and then I went nuts and identified a bunch more. But one per episode. Anyways, it was a great trek and excursion. Again, difficulty level, I would call that maybe a 4 at spots, but you know, if the elementary kids can do it, so can you. No excuses. Anyway, next hike is going to be a little bit more challenging, or I might default to get one more of like the more well-used trails around the Kamloops area before I trek out. Wells Gray is totally on my agenda for both paddling and hiking, so that's coming up soon. Okay, I'll stop yapping. Remember, smash that like or the sub button, like, comment, follow, Do your thing. I will keep the coffee warm and the gear dirty. I promise. Peace out, Scout.